Diamonds are forever. Diamonds.
Are diamonds forever? Yes, now they are, thanks to one player that completely disrupted this industry and that has implemented a blockchain technology. This player is HB Antwerp, and I had the privilege to be their technological provider. The diamond industry showed a lot of interest in using technology all along the supply chain. As you can see on this illustration, a lot of players all along, from production, sales, cutting, polishing, to end products, all of them got interested in using blockchain technology in their process. In particular, two huge players of that industry started blockchain project quite some time ago and invested a lot of effort and energy in doing so. De Beers and Rio Tinto. De Beers, they launched the Tracer project, which was a private blockchain project based on Ethereum, and they launched that in May 2018. On the other hand, Rio Tinto, who is a diamond producer from South America, they launched their project Trust Chain. Again, it was a private blockchain, but this time instead of using Ethereum, it used Hyperledger. And guess what? Those two projects were several millions of euro projects, both launched in 2018. What about now? Are they in production? Not to my knowledge. And when I asked people within the industry what happened, the fact is that to make their system work, they need now to convince all the rest of the supply chain to use their own system. And guess what? The rest of the supply chain doesn't really agree to do so. Therefore, despite big investment and projects started very early, unfortunately, there have been very limited impact for the diamond industry. Diamond traceability becoming more and more a business differentiator in this diamond industry for several reasons. So first of all, it has very old grounded roots thanks to the launch of the Kimberley process to fight blood diamonds that was launched in 2000. Another reason is consumer. Consumer, in the end, they are very concerned, and that was one of the reasons why this Kimberley process was launched, is because consumers are concerned about sustainability questions. Another reason why questions of traceability are becoming more and more important in the diamond industry is because of authenticity. So now natural diamonds that are mined from the ground are in competition with diamonds that are produced in lab. And therefore, it becomes very difficult to make the difference between the two, and this question of traceability becomes even more key. Finally, also, why question of traceability is very important is because diamond is by definition a global supply chain, because the countries in which we are actually buying those polished finished diamonds are very different from the countries where those diamonds are mined, are extracted rough from the mines, and also very different from the countries in which they are polished. Therefore, you have a very complex global scale supply chain, which raises a lot of interest for having a performant, clear, transparent traceability. This challenge is actually an opportunity, in particular for one player that came to disrupt this industry, HB Antwerp. Why so? Because HB disrupted this industry by two reasons. First of all, being fully integrated from the mine to the finished product. So in a world where in this industry there are different players that mine, that polish, that resell, that transform, that resell again, they are completely disrupting this way of working by doing everything internally themselves. And the second reason why they are also disrupting this industry is by being at the cutting edge of new technology, and they also disrupt a lot this industry by operating in Europe the key steps of transforming the diamond from rough to polished. Those steps have completely disappeared from this territory for quite some years now, and therefore it's a very bold move to do this in Europe. Because of this integration and also because of this DNA that HB Antwerp has to be extremely innovative, HB was extremely interested in potentially using blockchain technology. And that's where they started to consult different solutions, including the one that we offered. I'm going to tell you now more about the solution that we have put in place. Our solution is to implement the right technology for the right reasons. And the characteristics of our solution are as follows. First of all, and it's very important when we are doing this for blockchain technology, it's extremely robust technically. So it's a solution that you can implement actually in production and not only for simply a proof of concept. And that was very important for HB Antwerp because they actually have already traceability for all the diamond chain. So the challenge was to put in place a solution that will enable to certify this traceability for all diamonds, therefore in production. Another characteristic of the solution we implemented was that we chose a solution that is extremely environmental friendly. And again, that makes a lot of sense because one of the advantages of HB Antwerp to control the supply chain was also to respect more the environment than in a supply chain that is completely all over the world. And the third key element of our approach when implementing a blockchain solutions, and that we did in that case, was to identify an actual business case. And in that case, it was very clear. And all this analysis I showed you just before about the context in the diamond industry was very important for us to do in order to understand HB Antwerp challenge and opportunity in this industry. And that thanks to this analysis that we identified the right technology to implement. This approach that I just described and that you have here in a synthesis is actually essential also in our industry in which we work the most, which is the luxury industry, because we believe it is the best approach to protect the brand image. Because only if you do something that creates value for the right reason and with the right technology that also preserves the environment, you will stay coherent with your key values. I'm going now to describe a little bit more this technical solution and what are all these advantages that had as a consequence to have all the benefits that I described earlier. So I've made this slide that can be a little bit dense to explain those benefits. Basically, the solution is lighter, faster, and better than any other blockchain solution they could have implemented because of the design principle that we chose while developing and deploying the solution. So why is it lighter? It's lighter because instead of developing an infrastructure on a private infrastructure like the other diamond producers did, we use an infrastructure that already exists, which is the infrastructure of a public blockchain. We also chose in a philosophy of designing the solution, a solution that is software-based and therefore that requires the minimum effort on our client side of development. This not only makes the solution lighter, but also much faster to implement because the solution could be plugged in a matter of weeks. The solution is not only lighter and faster to implement, we also believe it's also better than a solution that would rely on a consortium blockchain. And why so? Because actually the base that we are using, the public blockchain, is actually recognized legally. So the proof and the certification we created on the traceability for our client with this solution has a legal value. Finally, one of also the strengths of this solution is that we use a lot of open source elements that we believe made the solution much stronger technically because they can be better challenged. In the end, as a conclusion, what was the result of this implementation? We managed to fully trace all the diamonds from the mine to the finished product in a way that pushed traceability to the next level by making it a commitment for the brands. And this is a complete new paradigm in this industry because we go from something that is purely declarative and that you could potentially modify afterwards to something that you basically set in stone and that becomes a commitment. And this is very important because this enables our clients to differentiate versus competition. While others can claim doing traceability, and HB does it in a way that is much more committing because each of the steps are now set in stone in a way that even HB cannot modify afterwards. And this had quite some benefits. So first of all, in terms of communication, because it showed how innovative they were. And another reason why it drove a lot of benefits is that it created more legal value and commitment on a data that was only business at first. And in the end, the benefit is that they created more trust with their own customers. I hope you find this story inspiring, and maybe if you have a traceability that you are very proud of, potentially a supply chain that you think is unique, and if you are interested in using it as a differentiation versus your competition, please reach out to us because I believe we have solutions to help you do so.